you nervous?
I don't know why I'm nervous.
Is this your first time being in front of a microphone like this?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of pressure because there's so much around. Like, there's that camera, there's that camera, it's like I'm being like watched,
you are being watched, but that's okay. Yeah, it's when you get the hang of it, it just becomes a conversation. I mean, but don't get me wrong, it's been some time too for me.
How long has it been since your last podcast?
Since the last time I was ever in front of a mic, like on radio. 4 years, 5 years at the least.
Oh, wow, that's
if
crazy.
not more. I mean, in front of a camera is different, I guess, than this. This is more. I actually find this to be easier.
Yeah,
because it's just more like personal. But
yeah, I agree. But it's like you're kind of like showing yourself to the world. You're showing your ideas to the world.
Yeah,
and it's kind of it's kind of scary.
It is. But the reason why we're here, the reason why I called you in here is because I got a text from you yesterday. And your text read exactly, I think I'm going to make the switch to Alexa, right? So some insight, Cass is a Google Home guy, and I'm an Alexa guy. And we've talked about the differences between the two and like what you think is good and what I think is good. And there's the debate. And I tried Google Home, and I think you've tried Alexa before, right?
I have, yeah.
Okay. So now, and I texted you after that. I said, don't tell me anymore. That was the last of our conversation last night. I said, don't tell me anymore. We're going to just talk about this like now. Okay. Your turn. What made you text me that? What went through your mind?
I was just like trying to do commands for like just simple stuff, like turn on a light, like all that, like, and the delay, the unresponsiveness, and just like the basic, just sheer fact that the wake word is "Hey Google" instead of just saying Alexa.
Got it.
If Google implemented like Nest, like if let's say you said Nest and then the word you want to do, I would be like, okay, that's a lot better. But it's not just that. It's so many other things too, like the integrations you can do. A lot of the like on Google Home, you can't do routines that are triggered by any other devices, which is like, it's crazy to me. Like with Alexa, you can do that, right? You can trigger things based off another, like a sensor being set off or a virtual switch getting set off.
Right.
But you can't really do that with Google Home as well or at all. So, I mean, like that's one of the things that's like triggering me to switch over. But I'm still kind of on the fence. So,
okay,
I don't know, we can talk about that. Like, see if you can convince me.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, it's almost down to a game of preferences.
Yeah.
But the sheer annoyance of things being slower, right, when it's supposed to be technology to make things better, sucks. So what are you on the fence about, I guess, is more what I'm interested to hear.
See, the thing that I'm on the fence about is Google, like Nest has done some great things, in my opinion. Like one thing that I'm a really big fan of, and I just actually purchased, was the Nest doorbell battery camera.
The 2, right? Or the Gen 2. Or
the Gen 2.
It, right.
It's not necessarily like a successor to the wired version because it's not as good camera quality wise. But the one nice thing I really like is, you know, the facial recognition. So I have it set actually after you came to my house. If you come over and ring my doorbell right now,
you're going to know it's me.
It's going to say Eddie's at the front door.
What if I put Finley in the door?
I mean, it'll recognize.
Will it recognize my dog?
I'm not sure if it recognizes dogs, but it's definitely like that in particular. That's a cool thing that Nest does, and some other nice features that we can talk about. I mean, you can probably like tell me, hey, like this device is great, but what does it integrate with? And there you'd have me right there.
Right.
Like I can't integrate it with smart things. I can't.
Also, Nest doorbell doesn't actually work with like smart things.
No.
So you can only use it. Can you only use it with the Nest system?
Yeah, basically. Which is a frustration for me because I would like to make automations based off of that device being triggered. And let's say SmartThings doesn't support it, right? At the very least, if I have a doorbell that works with Alexa, I can at least do automations or triggers or routines in the Alexa app. I don't have to go and use SmartThings.
That's true.
You know, so that was like kind of like the reason why I'm like, hey, like maybe I need to switch. Maybe that's why But that's like the start of it, really.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think?
So let's go to the doorbell situation for a second, because I've debated heavily about Ring and Nest in the past with other people, and I've never come to an actual answer of which one I like best. Right? Nest I liked because it at the time it had like the 24/7 recording, which Ring doesn't have. They'll do now where they take like a picture every 30 seconds when there's not motion.
Yeah.
And then obviously they'll record motion.
Right.
And that's even on the wired version of Ring without the doorbell.
Right.
I didn't like that. I didn't like how long it took the Ring app to load whenever you got a notification of motion. Those are my two major issues with Ring as it comes to doorbell versus doorbell. And you might have this on yours. Whenever I get motion now, I get a notification from Ring and the picture of the person on my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Which is nice. That's probably all I need to see, right? Oh, it's the mailman or whatever. But when it comes to integrations, it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I lived alone before I got married and everything like that, I had my Ring doorbell in the front and in the back. And I would set it so that way if there was ever motion after like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., it ran a routine. And this is through SmartThings. It'd run a routine that says, lock all the doors, shut the garage, turn on all the lights.
Yeah.
Because at the time, my routine was set where my lights would like shut off at 1 a.m. or so, right? And what's funny is I set that and then I never thought about it. Well, I'd be out working late or whatever, and I'd come home at like 2 a.m. And my routine was when I pull up to the house, unlock my front door. So what happens at 2 a.m. when I walk up to my front door is it locks again on me. All the lights turn on, blinds me because I'm not, it's not there.
Yeah.
And so that is a complete tangent outside of the Alexa versus Google debate. But my point is, it was just to show that I forgot about the routine and it continued to operate normally on the Ring camera. The reason why I went with Alexa is because when I went side by side, it was just a sheer fact of, it was really two things. Alexa answered better answers, in my opinion, than Google did. And Alexa operated my smart home faster than Google did.
Yeah.
So for instance, I'd say, hey, Alexa, turn off the family room light. And it would be bring, and it'd go right away, that quick.
Yeah.
And I'd say the same thing. Hey, Google, turn off the family room light. Wait. Okay. And then the lights would turn off. And in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about like small issues here. But over time, when you look at the two, it's like, why does Google interface differently than Alexa when really they're communicating through the same thing? So that's the thing. Amazon is a really great forward-moving company. Google scares me a little bit because we've had this debate before. How many things that they bring on and then cancel?
Yeah.
I don't think that they'll do that with Nest. I mean, this seems like a great thing, but even like the Nest Alarm. Google brought on Nest Alarm and then discontinued Nest Alarm.
Yeah.
Ring brought on Nest Alarm and now is morphing it into a drone guard and a little robot that drives around your house. I mean, that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
So in the forward look, or the outlook rather, of the company, I think Amazon's more forward looking than Google. But I don't know. That's why I picked Alexa. And you know what? Like there's other actors like Samuel L. Jackson. You can like pay a few bucks to have his voice on your Alexa. I didn't do it. My sister did at her house. And so instead of saying, hey, Alexa, you say, hey, Samuel. Right. And you can turn the explicit version on and get like his real feel. Right? So it's like those little fun things that Alexa does. Right. You could ask her to sing you happy birthday or sing a song. I haven't tested Google to that extent, but I'm not aware if it can do those kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the way I use my smart home, it's not necessarily where I'm looking for my speaker to tell me all these different facts or be really smart about my questions that I ask it, because I very rarely ask it, hey, what's the square root of whatever? You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking that. I'm asking it to execute commands. And to me, the one that execute the commands the fastest, the most reliable is Alexa in my past experience. Because I have a Sonos, which I can convert back and forth between Google Home and Alexa. And a lot of the time I would, compare it like, hey, like, let me switch to Alexa and let me add some of my devices and let's see what happens. And I'm always so pleasantly surprised. It's such a refreshing experience when you, hey, turn on the lights, like Alexa. Lights on. Yeah. Like such a simple command, simple wake up.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I want to switch, but I've already invested so much into Google Home that I'm kind of scared to switch. But you know what I'm saying?
But it's all cross compatible, right? I mean, like some of it, like the thermostat is.
The thermostat is. Right. I would have to probably return my doorbell. Because like one thing that are you able to do is just confirm with me. If someone rings your Ring doorbell, can it pop up on your TV?
The short answer is yes. Okay. The long answer is it sucks.
Oh, okay.
It's bad.
So it's not even worth it.
So it's no, I tried that with my Samsung TV with SmartThings and Ring, and it didn't work so well. However, I have that brilliant touchscreen thing in the wall, and it pops up there. Automatically it triggers audio, and then right from there I can unlock my door.
Right.
So that's really cool. I don't know that I care that it shows up on the TV. This is me personally, because my TV is in view of the back door, and so if someone rings the doorbell, they can literally look in the window and see that their picture is on the full screen.
Right.
Now, the only thing between doorbells that I think Nest has above Ring is Ring doesn't do the facial recognition.
Yeah.
So when you come to my door, it won't tell me Cass is here.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to say there's a person. It'll know the difference between a person and an object,
Of course.
but that's the extent of it. But overall, like, you get so many notifications from your doorbell every day, you almost become desensitized to wanting to know what's there and who's there, right? Yeah. Which is why I love the Apple Watch thing, right? I just look here and it shows me a picture of Finley at the back door, and I know, okay, he's back there, goofing off or whatnot, and that's cool, right? I don't need anything further than that. Or I get motion at the front door and it's like a spider at night. I don't have to go in the app if it's 1 a.m. I'm wondering why there's motion. I just see that right then and there.
Yeah. Right.
Again, all the other apps have that.
Yeah.
It sounds like. So, I mean, that feature anyway, popping up on the TV is not like I need to have this. I got to have this. But, I think over time, Alexa will continue to improve those things just like they always have. So I guess we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing that will probably play a really big part into whether or not I switch will probably be Matter. I don't know. Have you looked into Matter at all?
No, not really.
No. So, I mean, it's not a protocol. It's not like Zigbee or Z-Wave or anything like that.
Right.
So it's like an application layer. It's like a different standard.
That's right.
So like instead of, let's say, someone who develops a smart item, right? He or she who will develop it won't develop it on, let's say, the Google platform or the HomeKit platform.
Right.
They'll develop it on the Matter platform, which then all the
all the other HomeKit, Google, Samsung, everything will just work together. So if that comes to fruition, which I believe everything will switch to that eventually. Yeah.
I think all the items that I'm kind of like on the fence about switching over to will not be a problem. So I think I might switch to Alexa and then not have that pushback. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I might be able to keep my Nest doorbell. I might be able to keep my Nest thermostat.
But that's so far away. And honestly, I don't think that they're going to update the existing devices to support that. That might be a new device. So
it's possible,
right?
But let's say all I have to do is replace my hub. Let's say if that's the only thing I have to do, then maybe.
Yeah.
But I'll have to do more research into it. And see.
Okay. So I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
When you go home today, I would like you to switch all your devices to Alexa, or all your Sonos speakers to Alexa for, I don't know, just 2 days, right? Okay. So today's Wednesday, and on Friday, we'll come back, and I just want to see if you're going to leave it or switch it back.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take the chance.
All right, let's do it. Hi, Cass.
Oh no, we're back.
We're back, and you have something to tell us today.
I do.
Okay.
Do you want me to just go out right out and say it?
Yeah. I want to know.
All right. So you gave me the challenge basically.
I did.
Switch to Alexa. Not switch to Alexa, but take the 2 days to see what it's like. And you actually helped me out. You were like, yeah, here's an extra Alexa.
Yeah, I did. I had one sitting in the box at home that I did not use, and I told them to come over and get it, and you did.
Yeah, and it helped out with the experiment for sure.
Okay.
So, long story short, I really liked, switching over.
Yeah.
It was a nice experience, and I did do some testing back to back because I didn't unplug all my Google Homes.
Okay. Man.
And the reason I didn't is because it was for the sake of my wife.
Okay. Okay. I can stand behind that.
So she didn't have to take part in the experiment.
Okay. That's fair.
But that gave me the opportunity to kind of do kind of an apples to apples comparison between the two.
It was an Alexa to Google comparison, though.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
what did you learn?
My initial thought was, yeah, the commands are going to be more crispy on the Alexa side, but responsiveness, I was, surprised. They're actually pretty similar when you go head to head.
Okay.
I think where you kind of feel the difference is you don't have to say as much, like we talked about before.
Interesting.
The wake word.
Right.
It's a lot less in your mouth.
Okay.
But it was pretty comparable with speed. The thing that I found was nice was the actual app itself, because I set up all my devices.
Okay.
It was very easy, just organizing them all into the rooms, and then seeing what kind of things already integrated and what I could make automations with the existing sensors, which I found to be nice.
Because if I remember correctly, in Google, the Nest Home app, you can't make any automations.
You can, but they're not based off of triggers based, on other devices.
Right.
Yeah. So it was nice in the fact that I could use my sensors just in Alexa app.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I found that to be cool. And the little skills and stuff like that were cool. And the suggestions, I forget the term that they use, but it's kind of like it guesses what to recommend you. Like, hey, like it guessed for me, like, turn on the lights at sunset, for a specific room.
Right.
Which was nice because Google doesn't do that. Google doesn't suggest that for you. So.
And why would you do that? Just out of curiosity for you, why would you want to do that in Alexa, not your SmartThings hub?
It's just easier. I feel like you don't have to like go and do a rule. You can just one button turn on.
Oh, I see.
And then
based
it's
on
just
the suggestion.
convenient. Yeah, based on the suggestion.
Okay.
I mean, you could probably do it in SmartThings and then have more control over that.
Right.
But it's nice that it gives you that suggestion, especially if, let's say, for example, you're not as kind of like techie and you're just trying to get into smart home stuff. Alexa might make it easier for you to kind of do those things instead of having to make complicated rules or something like that.
Would you just consider it more polished?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some things that I prefer in the Google Home app over the Alexa app. Mainly just like how it organizes and shows you the rooms that exist.
Okay.
So in the Google Home app, you can see all your rooms laid out in a row, basically like 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you can see all the items and control them directly.
Right.
And you can kind of do that in the Alexa app, but not to the same degree. You have to like kind of click in.
You have to click into it. Right.
Yeah. Which it's fine. Like that doesn't bother me too much, but that was like one of the biggest differences that I saw that I like on the Google side more.
And that's one thing that SmartThings actually went more looking like Alexa in the update. Because before it used to be one page you would scroll.
Yeah.
Have the header of the room and you can control it, which I preferred that.
Yeah.
Versus having to scroll left and right to find the room that you want to be in, which is more similar to how Alexa is now.
Right. And so with that, I with actually the SmartThings application, I always just make all the items favorited so that they all show up in the same area, because I hate having to scroll between different pages to find the rooms.
Right.
But from all my testing and everything, and to be honest, 2 days isn't very much time, but I was happy with it, and I saw myself wanting to switch in the end, but I still feel like I can't switch just yet,
Okay.
And I was doing some research as far as some other devices, as far as, last we talked about at the very end was Matter.
Right.
And you were talking about, hey, you're going to probably have to buy different devices for that. But I learned that most likely that's not the case.
Really?
Yeah. So there's going to be a situation where when Matter comes out, the devices that will actually support Matter are going to be devices that support Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and something called Thread.
So Z-Wave devices, what is more commonly in my house, those are kind of off the table when it comes to Matter. Specifically Matter.
I don't think they're going to be completely off the table, because I think that they'll eventually join the table. But I think the reason why Matter is going to use specifically Wi-Fi, Thread, and Bluetooth, and mostly Wi-Fi and Thread, because of the fact that they're IP based.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's bounce back from where we're at, or where we're going, I guess. So obviously the Google Alexa conversation as it goes to the future doesn't seem to be a big deal, because it sounds like they're both kind of working to support those, or eventually they should support those things. And that's how things go. Back to your comparison though, right? It sounds like that you're leaning more towards Alexa, but I still feel like there's a hesitation in there.
There is, because like I said before, like this stuff isn't out yet. And I still want, there's that thing where you want your smart home to be, have that continuity, right? All my stuff kind of works together nicely right now. And if I kind of throw that under the bus, especially fair. Like how we spoke about, like, the doorbell situation. Right. And frankly, a doorbell is not really supposed to make or break your, smart home.
Yeah.
But to me, it's kind of nice. Like all my speakers kind of will talk to it. Yeah. All my applications that I currently use will talk to it. But you actually, stated the point where you could probably just keep one Google Home speaker.
Yeah. And there are people that do that.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't know. I'd rather just go, just do it. Throw them all in the garbage and just do it.
So I didn't tell you this, but at one point I had one Google speaker in my house and the rest were Alexa, because I wanted to try that. Like, okay, Google's cool for some things and Alexa's cool for the other things, and let me just have Google, just one of them, to do different things. At the time, I had an Android phone as my second phone for work.
Yeah.
And the thing that drove me crazy was I would say, hey, Google, and both my phone and my device would answer. They didn't talk to each other.
Right.
That's possibly because I had two separate Gmails. One was a personal, one was a work.
It's possible, yeah.
So the continuity there drove me crazy. And then, to your point, I just like one thing that I know is going to be good and work, and that's it. So, but one point you brought up, and I tried not to talk to you about this at all the last 2 days, because I just wanted to brain dump here, was the screens. On Alexa versus Google.
The smart screen. The smart displays, yeah.
And we've talked about that. So like the Echo Show and the Google Nest, what is it called? The Google Nest Hub?
The hub, yeah, the Nest Hub, and then the Nest Hub Max, I believe.
Yes, right.
I could be wrong.
I think that's right. And we talked about the difference in what the screens can do. Like my Echo Show can only display what you're asking her to display. It'll display lyrics of songs.
Right.
There's no real interactiveness when it comes to that.
So you can't just go and kind of interact with it with touch, is what you're saying?
Not really. I mean, there's a couple things you can do, some suggestions. You can like play and pause when there's music on there. If you tell her to turn on a light, it'll pop up on there, the light that you had her turn on.
Right.
You can click it to turn it back off. Like there are some features. It is a touchscreen for a reason.
Right.
But I can't not that I want to go surf the web on it, but I can't go surf the web.
You can't really do that on the Nest Hubs either.
But YouTube, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Right?
You can say like, "Hey Google, pull up a YouTube video," and it will.
But can you go on there and physically pull it up?
Manually, no, completely. You have to rely on your voice. Like,
Got it.
If you like, my wife does this a lot. We have a Nest Hub in the kitchen. We use it for timers and watching Netflix or YouTube while we're cooking. And usually, what she'll do is just say, "Hey Google, play this show on Netflix."
Got it.
Whatever show it is, or play this video play a baking video on YouTube.
Okay.
And then it'll do it. What you can do then is interact with it by pausing it, maybe skipping forward, and doing stuff like that. But other than that, you can't really pull it up from. It's not an iPad.
I got it.
Let's say.
So you can do a lot of that similarly with Alexa. Now, I've never plugged in Netflix or tried YouTube. I do know that you can have like baking videos. Right. There's what they call skills on Alexa.
Yeah.
Basically, they're plugins that allow you to do certain things, and that you can pull up like a baking video. You can pull up certain things that are associated with those skills. Like I can start my car as a skill from it, and I think you can do that with Google as well. Mm-hmm. So there's that, and then yes, you can interact on screen. I guess I thought that you could literally pull up YouTube by touching a YouTube icon and doing that through the Google Home or through the Nest Hub. However, one thing that Nest does that I like, and this is a privacy security conversation that we're not going to really have today, is the camera that's on the Nest Hub is a security camera, a part of your Nest system.
Right.
Ring and Alexa they were kind of two separate companies that one bought the other out. And so the camera on the Echo or any of the devices that have one, rather the Show or the Spot, can only be used for video calls. And just like, we need another payment platform, we don't need another video calling system, right? FaceTime is super big, Google Duo, a couple other things on Android as well. And so I'm not going to walk up to my Alexa and say, hey, call, my wife while I'm here. And it doesn't work like that. What I do use it for, though, is when my wife doesn't answer her phone.
Yeah.
Right? Or vice versa.
You just drop in.
You drop in, right? Say, hey, can you please answer? I need to know what you want for dinner,
I do the same thing on Google. But the nice thing, I guess, with the video calling on the Nest Hub Max, because the Nest Hub, the smaller version, doesn't actually have a camera.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Got it.
So what it has like a kind of ultrasonic presence sensor. So when you walk up to it, it'll know there's someone there, and it'll show you like the status of your smart home, what lights are on and stuff. But it mostly relies on the voice recognition. So I've noticed if I happen to speak something other than "Hey Google," like if I'm saying something to my wife, it'll actually say "Hi Kasim."
Oh,
like it won't verbally say it, but it'll say "Hi Kasim," and it'll show my calendar. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's like an official thing that they say happens, but I've noticed it happen.
Does it work the same with your wife?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And because it knows the difference between me and her.
And so does Alexa to me. Like I can say, hey, who am I? And she'll say, you're Edward. And my wife can say, who am I? And I'll say her name as well.
But with the Nest Hub Max, like you stated, the camera, the really nice thing with that camera is it can do facial recognition.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that we were talking about with the doorbell.
Right.
But that can also pair with, that Nest Hub Max and also act as a security camera. So let's say if I had a Nest Hub Max, which I'd like to have one,
right?
I'd walk up to it and then it would recognize my face and then without me saying anything, show me what is relevant to me.
I see.
And I mean, that's not really something that like I care too much about, but other people might if they're more inside the Gmail side or the Google side of things.
Right.
But it is still a nice thing that I feel I'd be missing out on if I, fully switched over. And I mean, I don't see why Alexa wouldn't start, moving in that direction because they, like you said last time, they are a forward-thinking company, and Nest is as well. But I feel like Amazon kind of thinks really, really outside the box. They're not afraid to kind of jump out there.
I'm with you, except man, I just don't know why we don't have facial recognition on the Ring doorbell yet.
I mean, that is something that I've really enjoyed, especially with the package detection, and you can even detect if a dog is there or a cat is there. It can detect the difference,
right? Which
is cool. And I think it would be nice if I could switch over and see that with Ring, but I'll probably have to wait.
Hey, but obviously we talked about before with the Nest Alarm and Ring Alarm, you guys don't have flying drones that are going to come find the bad guy when they bust in the back door.
Who's going to actually really buy that?
I would. And only for the novelty fact of watching a drone. And I would set my alarm off on purpose just to watch this thing go and like move around my walls. I mean, it's cool.
It is cool. Yeah.
The robot one, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a little $1,000 little thing. Has like an arm that comes up for the camera and stuff like that. You can like put like I don't know, like a bottle or a Coke or something on there and say, go to Kasim, and it'll drive to you and say, hey, this is a delivery from Eddie.
It is pretty cool.
Like that's cool, but that's more like you're talking now. You're getting into like consumer robots to then do tasks in your house.
Yeah. Right.
Which we've had robot automation for a long time especially the automotive. Like we're in Detroit, right?
Right.
And so it's everything's moving in that direction. Self-driving cars. Things like that. It's only a matter of time until those things become more prevalent in our lives. But it's really cool watching it all play out.
Yeah, I agree. But as far as the little robot thing that you were talking about, how does it know who to walk up to? Does it use facial recognition?
So I've only seen little videos of it, and I believe like I don't think you can purchase it. I think it's still on like an invite only list, how Amazon does those. So to answer your question, I don't know.
Okay.
And like it has like a screen and has a camera on there. Yeah. So like if it was with me, I could be like, video call Kasim on his Alexa.
Yeah.
Or on your Alexa app, you can answer, and then I can tell it to follow me. This is based on the videos that I watch. And it would follow me around the house.
Yeah.
Right? I don't really know. But so ultimately it just sounds like you would switch to Alexa. but I think things need to be a little bit more universal. So voice assistant to voice assistant, that's the way you would go. Voice assistant only, not talking about the back end.
I would say just comparing voice assistants, I would move to Alexa.
Okay.
And that's just, to me, based on the responsiveness of commands, not necessarily talking about it being the most intelligent kind of AI kind of response. That doesn't matter to me. It may matter to someone else, but to me, I just want it to execute commands in my smart home.
But bottom line, because the integrations and because of the lack of compatibility with other things right now, sounds like you're going to stay with Google.
Yeah, for right now, because if it's a lot to kind of switch with what I currently have.
Right.
And honestly, if I did switch, I don't think I would hurt too much.
Right.
I would probably make do, but it's a lot to kind of go through that path and have to buy all those speakers and then make the adjustments to make everything work.
Right.
So, but I definitely did enjoy it.
So obviously the benefits aren't worth doing that just yet.
Not yet for me, because it's already established. It's already plugged in.
Okay. Well, that was the answer I'm looking for, I guess, today.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, hey, listen, bottom line, I think both have great products and I think both have great use cases. It just depends on, like I said before, I think it just comes down to preference. And part of it, in your case, like you would have to change the doorbell to have more integration and other things, and that it wasn't such a drastic difference that was worth it.
Not really, because I had both of them in the living room and, making commands, having them, let's say, turn off the light.
Right.
They did it at pretty comparable speeds, so I was like, maybe it's just in the moment when you're seeing them separate, you're like, oh, this is different, so therefore it's kind of maybe better,
Right.
There's maybe a bias there that happens, but I do like Alexa more just based off, and even the voice.
Yeah.
Like the actual, the tone of the voice is more calming to me. So that is actually a nice part. But to someone else hearing me talk about this, they may think, what is this guy talking about? Just the sheer fact that his doorbell is not going to work is preventing him. But to me, it matters. So
that's fair. That's fair. So I just have one last question for you. Can I get my Alexa back?
Yeah, here, you can have it.
Well, that was insightful. I appreciate, you doing that.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me out with it.
Of course.
I mean, maybe when Tesla releases their AI robot, maybe you'll be the first to test it out. And then when you're done with it, you can pass it on to me, and then you can.
Yeah. And then we'll wake up from our dream and realize that we still have to work for a living.
What do you think about that, by the way?
Oh, that's for a different time. Fair
enough.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you.